Have you ever felt your patience disappear in a single moment, when someone's careless words sting or when a small problem suddenly feels unbearable? You sense the fire of anger rise inside, your heartbeat quickens, and your mind begins to defend itself. Yet deep within, you know anger never gives peace. It only burns quietly, hurting you more than anyone else. But peace is not found in a world without noise or conflict. It is found in a person who learns to remain still when everything around them shakes. This audiobook will guide you to that strength, to understand anger, calm your emotions, and build lasting balance. Through 10 chapters, you'll learn how to manage triggers, control reactions, and live with gentle confidence. Chapter 1: The Art of Staying Calm. True calmness is not silence, it is self-control. It is the power to choose peace even when anger feels easier. Many people think calmness means ignoring what hurts, but real calmness means facing it with awareness. When you understand your emotions, they stop controlling you. Anger thrives when you act without clarity, but calmness begins the moment you start observing yourself. Imagine a flame inside a glass lantern. If the glass is fragile, one gust of wind can blow it out, but if it is strong, the flame stays steady no matter how hard the wind blows. Your mind works the same way. The stronger your awareness, the harder it is for life to shake your peace. Calmness isn't about avoiding storms, it's about breathing through them. When anger rises, your body reacts before your thoughts can. Your pulse races, your chest tightens, and your focus fades. But if you pause and breathe, even once, you begin to regain control. You are no longer the storm, you become the sky above it, the calm observer who watches emotions pass without being carried away. The secret to peace lies in the space between emotion and reaction. In that small gap, freedom lives. Every time you choose silence over argument, patience over pride, or stillness over frustration, you grow stronger. Calmness is not weakness. It's power guided by wisdom. The strongest person is the one who remains gentle when provoked. Start noticing your thoughts. Don't resist them. Watch how anger begins as a small discomfort and grows when you feed it. If you stay aware, it fades before taking control. Calmness strengthens with practice, and every peaceful choice becomes a quiet victory. Remember, the world will always test you, but when you master your peace, nothing can take it away. Calmness grows in the moments you least expect. It is built during ordinary days, in small decisions, when you choose patience instead of pressure. Every time you hold back from reacting, you strengthen the space between what happens and how you respond. That space is the birthplace of peace. It's where wisdom begins to whisper, reminding you that not every reaction deserves your energy. Anger is not always loud. Sometimes it hides in irritation, restlessness, or disappointment. It lives in the small corners of your mind where expectations are not met. When you start noticing these quiet forms of anger, you begin to understand yourself more deeply. You learn that most of your frustration doesn't come from others. It comes from the difference between how you wish life would be and how it actually is. Calmness begins when you accept that difference. Staying calm is not about being passive, it's about staying aware. When you stop fighting every emotion, you gain control over your inner world. The next time anger rises, try observing it without judgment. Feel the heat in your chest, the tension in your body, and simply breathe. The act of noticing slows down the reaction. You begin to see anger as energy, not identity, something that visits, not something that defines you. People who seem naturally calm are not free from anger. They've just learned to pause before reacting. That pause is powerful. It gives them time to understand what their emotions are trying to say. It allows them to protect relationships, preserve dignity, and prevent regret. Each pause becomes a silent moment of growth, a reminder that peace isn't weakness, it's mastery. You will notice that calmness changes how others treat you too. When you remain composed, you shift the energy in the room. People feel safer around you because your peace becomes contagious. You no longer need to prove yourself through anger. Your silence begins to speak louder than any argument. It's not about controlling others. It's about mastering yourself. When frustration builds, breathe slower. Let the moment stretch. Remind yourself that emotions pass, but words spoken in anger can last forever. Staying calm doesn't mean suppressing your truth. It means expressing it gently when your heart is steady and your mind is clear. Calmness gives you that clarity. It makes your words softer, your actions wiser, and your life lighter. Calm people are not born that way. They are made through patience, awareness, and practice. They learn to protect their peace like something sacred. They understand that nothing is worth losing inner balance over. When you live with that awareness, calmness becomes not just an act, but a way of life. You stop reacting to every ripple, and instead you learn to float, steady, aware, and free. Chapter 2. The Trigger Within. The calmest people are not those who never feel anger. They are the ones who understand where that anger begins. Every emotion has a root, and behind every reaction there is a trigger waiting to be seen. These triggers are rarely loud. They hide in old memories, unhealed wounds, or quiet insecurities that surface when life presses the right button. Calmness starts when you stop fighting anger and start listening to it. Your mind works like a library of moments. When something frustrates you, your brain instantly opens a book from the past that feels similar. Without realizing it, you respond to that memory, not the present. That is why some reactions feel stronger than the situation deserves. The key to staying calm is separating what is happening now from what has already passed. Imagine being cut off in traffic. You feel irritation rise, but beneath that anger might be the feeling of disrespect or helplessness. The incident becomes a mirror, revealing what still unsettles you. When you begin seeing triggers as reflections instead of attacks, you gain freedom. You learn to respond with understanding instead of tension. Every trigger carries a message. It shows you the exact place inside that still needs peace. Notice which moments keep repeating, the same tone of voice that bothers you, the same delay that makes you impatient, the same kind of person who tests your calm. These repetitions are lessons, asking you to grow beyond reaction. Once you see them, you stop being controlled by them. Calmness is not about suppressing emotions. It is about recognizing them before they take control. When anger appears, pause and ask yourself, what am I really feeling? Maybe it's disappointment, rejection, or fear. Naming the emotion separates you from it. The moment you give it a name, you weaken its grip, and your awareness expands. Other people's behavior often has little to do with you. Their words and moods reflect their own struggles. When you realize this, you stop letting their chaos disturb your peace. You carry your own energy like a shield of clarity. That awareness makes you stronger and softer at the same time. Each trigger gives you a choice, to repeat the same reaction or to respond differently. The moment you choose differently, healing begins. You turn irritation into insight, reaction into reflection, and pain into patience. With every choice, your calm grows deeper. You stop being pulled by emotions and start leading them. That is where true emotional freedom begins, not in avoiding life, but in mastering your inner response to it. When you begin to understand your triggers, you no longer see anger as the enemy. You see it as a signal, a quiet voice telling you that something inside needs attention. Most people try to silence that voice through distraction, denial, or reaction. But true calmness comes when you stop running from it. Instead, you look directly at what it's trying to show you. That awareness is the beginning of emotional mastery. Every person has a pattern of emotional response. For some, criticism triggers defensiveness. For others, being ignored awakens deep frustration. These reactions are often rooted in the past, maybe from moments when you didn't feel heard, respected, or valued. When similar situations appear, they touch that same emotional memory. The anger you feel today may belong to the person you used to be, not the one you are now. Recognizing this difference is powerful. It allows you to respond from wisdom instead of pain. When you realize your triggers are echoes of unfinished emotions, you stop blaming others for making you feel angry. You start healing instead of reacting. You learn to comfort the part of you that still remembers what it's like to be hurt, ignored, or dismissed. Calmness is born from that understanding. The next time something irritates you, try to slow down your thoughts before they shape your reaction. Ask yourself, why does this bother me so much? Maybe it's not the situation itself, but what it represents. A sense of disrespect, a loss of control, or fear of rejection. Once you uncover the real reason, you can address it with clarity instead of rage. The emotion begins to lose its intensity, and peace takes its place. Self-awareness doesn't mean you'll never feel anger again. It means you'll understand it faster, and it will stay shorter. You'll catch yourself before words turn sharp or decisions turn reckless. Your calmness becomes the pause that protects your peace. Over time, your triggers lose their power because they no longer meet resistance. They meet understanding. When you live with awareness, even conflict begins to feel different. You see anger not as a personal attack, but as a message from emotion to awareness. You realize every argument is a test, not of who's right, but of who stays centered. And each time you stay calm when the world expects you to react, you rise above old patterns. That is emotional growth in its purest form. Calmness is not about perfection. It's about progress, the slow transformation of your reactions into reflections. As you continue this journey, remember that the goal is not to never feel triggered, but to notice the trigger, understand it, and let it go without losing your inner stillness. That's how peace becomes your natural response, not a fragile mood, but a practiced strength that nothing can shake. Chapter 3. The Science of Emotions. Calmness begins to make more sense when you understand what actually happens inside your body when anger appears. Every emotion is not just a feeling, it is a physical reaction created by the brain and the nervous system. When something upsets you, your body instantly prepares to defend itself. It's a survival response, known as the fight or flight reaction. Your heart beats faster, your muscles tighten, and stress hormones flood your system. This response was once useful for survival when danger meant life or death. But in today's world, most triggers are not physical threats. They are emotional ones. A harsh word, a delay or rejection can cause the same biological reaction as real danger. Your body doesn't know the difference between a wild animal and a rude comment. It reacts the same way. That's why even small things can make you feel so tense, so quickly. Understanding this helps you see anger differently. It's not always personal, it's biological. Your brain releases adrenaline and cortisol, chemicals designed to protect you but harmful when overused. If you stay angry often, these stress hormones build up, leaving you exhausted, restless, or anxious. Calmness, then, is not just emotional wisdom, it is biological healing. When you practice calmness, you teach your brain to respond differently. Deep breathing, for example, slows your heartbeat and signals safety to your nervous system. Your body starts releasing relaxation hormones instead of stress chemicals. This is why calm people often look younger, think clearer, and live longer. Their inner systems stay balanced, because their emotions no longer command chaos. Your brain's emotional center, called the amygdala, reacts faster than your rational mind. That's why anger feels instant. It fires before logic arrives. But when you pause, even for a moment, you give your prefrontal cortex time to step in. That part of the brain helps you think, evaluate, and choose wisely. In simple words, the pause between emotion and reaction is your mind regaining control from your body. You can train this system through awareness and repetition. Each time you stay calm instead of reacting, you strengthen the neural pathway of peace. Over time, your brain learns that anger is not always necessary. You begin to feel a natural sense of steadiness, even in moments of pressure. This is emotional rewiring, the scientific foundation of calmness. So when you next feel that familiar rush of irritation, remember, your body is just trying to protect you. Don't fight it. Guide it. Breathe slowly and remind yourself that you are safe. As your body calms, your thoughts clear and your emotions follow. This is how you shift from reaction to control, from tension to balance. Calmness is not only a mindset, it is a biological miracle you can activate anytime you choose awareness over instinct. Your emotions are like a language your body speaks before your mind can translate it. Anger, sadness, fear, and joy are all signals that something within you needs attention. When you learn to listen without judgment, you begin to understand what your body and heart are truly saying. Calmness grows when you stop reacting to those signals and start decoding them. This shift from reaction to observation changes everything. When you feel angry, it's not just a mental experience. Your entire system joins in. Your pulse accelerates, blood pressure rises, and breathing becomes shallow. The body prepares for conflict, but most of the time there is no real threat. That's why staying angry feels exhausting. Your body is burning energy for a battle that never happens. When you calm down, you're not being passive. You're allowing your system to return to balance. Science shows that every emotion lasts only about 90 seconds if you let it pass naturally. It stays longer only when you replay it in your thoughts. This means anger doesn't live on its own. You feed it through mental repetition. Each time you revisit a situation, your brain releases the same chemicals again, keeping you stuck in the same emotional loop. Calmness, therefore, begins in the mind. The less you replay, the faster you heal. Calm people train their awareness to interrupt this loop. When something frustrates them, they breathe deeply, observe the feeling, and allow it to fade instead of fueling it with stories. They know they cannot stop the first emotional wave, but they can prevent the second one, the one created by overthinking. This discipline rewires the brain to favor peace over panic. It's not suppression, it's transformation. Your body responds to your thoughts more than to your surroundings. When you think calming thoughts, slow breathing, gratitude or acceptance, your nervous system relaxes. Blood flow returns to your brain's rational centers, improving focus and judgment. That's why calmness leads to wiser decisions. It's not emotional distance, it's emotional intelligence in action. Over time, the more you practice staying calm, the more automatic it becomes. You start recognizing anger early, sometimes even before it appears fully. You feel the tension rise but choose stillness over reaction. Your brain begins to associate peace with strength, not weakness. This is how emotional maturity develops, through repetition, awareness, and gentle correction of old patterns. Remember, your emotions are not your enemies. They are your teachers. Anger teaches boundaries. Sadness teaches depth. Fear teaches awareness. But once their message is received, it's your responsibility to let them go. Calmness is not the absence of emotion. It's the understanding of it. When you master this science, you realize peace was never far away. It was always waiting for you to slow down enough to feel it. Chapter 4. The Power of Pause. Calmness begins in one simple yet powerful moment: the pause. Between every emotion and reaction, there exists a small gap. Most people rush past it without noticing, but within that gap lies the power to change everything. The pause is where you take back control from your emotions, where you choose clarity over chaos and peace over pride. The one who masters this pause becomes unshakable. When anger rises, your body wants instant release. The urge to speak, to defend, or to strike back feels irresistible. But the pause invites you to do the opposite, to wait. Even a few seconds of silence allows your rational mind to catch up to your emotional impulse. This delay is not weakness, it's wisdom in motion. It transforms reaction into reflection, giving you space to respond instead of regret. Think of your emotions like waves. The pause is the moment you stand still and let the wave pass without being swept away. It may not feel easy, but every second you stay still strengthens your awareness. With time, you realize that calmness doesn't mean avoiding strong emotions. It means allowing them to come and go without losing your balance. The pause also protects relationships. Many words spoken in anger are not true feelings. They are emotional reflexes. Once spoken, they can't be taken back. But when you pause, even briefly, you prevent temporary emotions from causing permanent damage. You give yourself time to choose compassion instead of reaction, kindness instead of defense. That single moment can change the outcome of entire conversations. Pausing is not about silence alone, it's about presence. During a pause, breathe deeply, feel your heartbeat, and anchor yourself in the moment. When your awareness expands, the situation begins to shrink. What felt unbearable a moment ago suddenly feels manageable. The pause acts like a reset button, turning chaos into calm. Practicing the pause daily strengthens your emotional endurance. The more you do it, the more automatic it becomes. At first, it might feel unnatural to delay your reaction, but with patience, your mind learns that waiting brings clarity. Soon, the pause becomes your natural instinct. It becomes your invisible armor in moments of tension. Remember, control is not found in speed, it's found in stillness. When you pause, you're not surrendering to the situation, you're mastering it. You're saying, "I choose peace over reaction." In that moment, you rise above the emotion, above the noise, and return to your center. That is where calmness truly lives, in the silent, sacred space between impulse and intention. When you begin to practice the art of pausing, something subtle but powerful happens. You start noticing the small spaces within conversations, emotions, and even your own thoughts. Those spaces are like quiet breaths between storms. They allow you to think clearly when everyone else is drowning in reaction. The pause becomes your inner doorway to freedom, a moment where you choose not to be a slave to impulse. Most people believe control means overpowering their emotions, but true control lies in stillness, not suppression. When you pause, you don't deny your feelings, you simply give them room to breathe. This small act shifts your mind from chaos to clarity. You begin to sense that you are not your anger, not your reaction, but the calm awareness watching it all unfold. That realization changes the way you live. Every pause is a lesson in patience. It reminds you that urgency is often an illusion. Anger says, "React now or lose control." But calmness whispers, "Wait, and you'll see more clearly." The pause brings wisdom that emotion can never give. It's like standing at a distance and watching your own storm pass, realizing that peace was always there beneath the noise. There will be moments when the pause feels almost impossible, when emotions feel too strong to hold back. In those moments, focus on your breath. One deep inhale slows the body, One gentle exhale softens the mind. Breathing bridges the body and awareness, and through it, the pause becomes easier. With practice, your breath becomes your anchor, keeping you grounded even when anger knocks at your door. The pause also reveals what truly matters. You start noticing how often your reactions were fueled by ego rather than truth. You realize that not every argument deserves your voice, and not every opinion needs to be corrected. The silence of the pause teaches humility, the kind that turns conflict into understanding and noise into wisdom. Over time, the pause becomes second nature. You begin to pause before responding, before judging, even before worrying. This habit transforms your energy. People will notice your calm, but they won't know how you do it. They'll see peace on your face, but won't realize it comes from the pauses you've built within. That's the quiet strength of emotional discipline, unseen yet deeply powerful. The pause is not an escape, it's evolution. It is you becoming larger than your reaction, wiser than your emotion, and freer than your impulse. The more you practice it, the longer your calm lasts, and the shorter your anger lives. Eventually you'll discover that peace doesn't come after the pause. Peace is the pause. And that, more than anything, is the secret to staying calm and never getting angry. Chapter 5. Emotional Awareness. Calmness begins with awareness, the ability to recognize what you feel before it controls what you do. Most people don't realize how many emotions flow through them each day. They move from irritation to joy, from fear to calm, without ever naming what they're feeling. But awareness changes everything. When you learn to identify your emotions, you stop being ruled by them. You become the observer instead of the prisoner. Emotional awareness is like turning on a light in a dark room. You begin to see what was always there but hidden. You notice how tension builds in your shoulders when you feel unheard, how your breath shortens when you feel afraid, or how your tone changes when you feel defensive. The more you notice these small details, the faster you recognize your emotional state, and the sooner you can guide it. The problem is not that we feel too much. The problem is that we feel without understanding. Emotions are not enemies, they are signals. Anger shows a boundary crossed. Sadness shows loss. Fear shows uncertainty. When you start listening instead of reacting, emotions transform from chaos into guidance. Calmness grows when you allow feelings to exist without rushing to silence them. Awareness also means honesty with yourself. Many people label their anger as stress or fatigue, never admitting what they truly feel. But unacknowledged emotions don't disappear. They build up until they burst. The calmest people are not emotionless. They are emotionally honest. They accept what they feel, breathe through it, and release it without judgment. This acceptance is what makes calmness authentic. To build emotional awareness, slow down your moments. When you feel upset, pause and ask, what exactly am I feeling right now? Don't analyze, just observe. Maybe it's disappointment or fear or the need to feel respected. Once you name it, you take away its power to control you. Naming brings clarity, and clarity brings calm. You start realizing that emotions are visitors, not permanent residents. Awareness also gives you empathy. When you understand your own emotions, you begin to see others differently. You recognize that angry people are often hurt, that impatient ones are often afraid. This understanding replaces judgment with compassion, and compassion naturally softens your reactions. You no longer meet fire with fire. You meet it with calm understanding. Emotional awareness doesn't make life easier, it makes it clearer. You still feel everything, but you no longer drown in it. You begin to guide your emotions instead of resisting them, and in that gentle guidance, peace becomes your companion. The more aware you become, the fewer things disturb your calm, because nothing surprises the mind that understands itself. When you live with emotional awareness, you begin to see your inner world as clearly as the outer one. You stop moving through your days on autopilot and start noticing the patterns that shape your moods. You realize that every reaction has a reason and every emotion carries a story. This realization turns ordinary moments into lessons, each one showing you where peace is missing and how to reclaim it. Awareness gives you the power to respond rather than react. When you know what you feel, you no longer fear your emotions. You meet them like guests, welcoming, listening, and letting them leave when their message is heard. Anger, for example, often hides a sense of hurt or rejection. When you recognize that truth, your anger softens. It transforms from fire into understanding, and calmness begins to flow naturally. But awareness also requires humility. You must be willing to admit when you're not calm, when pride has taken over, or when you've spoken from frustration. Most people defend their emotions instead of exploring them. True calmness grows when you stop defending and start reflecting. Each honest moment becomes a quiet correction, bringing you closer to the version of yourself that no longer reacts but responds. One of the greatest skills awareness brings is detachment, not from people or feelings, but from the storm of reactivity. You learn to observe emotions as if they belong to someone else. You see them rise and fall like waves without letting them define you. This detachment doesn't make you cold, it makes you balanced. You stop clinging to the highs or drowning in the lows, and instead you learn to rest in the middle, the space of peace. Awareness also teaches responsibility. Once you know your triggers and patterns, you can no longer blame others for your reactions. You begin to take ownership of your emotions, and that ownership is true freedom. You realize no one can make you angry unless you hand them the power to do so. This shift transforms relationships and restores control over your own emotional life. In moments of awareness, time seems to slow down. You start seeing the gap between stimulus and response, the space where wisdom lives. You recognize that every emotion is a teacher, if you're willing to listen. Calmness becomes not just a practice, but a way of living, a constant dialogue between your heart and your awareness. The more you understand yourself, the quieter your world becomes. You no longer rush to fix everything or prove yourself right. You begin to appreciate silence, patience, and gentle strength. Emotional awareness does not erase pain, but it helps you meet pain with grace. And in that grace, you discover that peace was never something to chase. It was always something to uncover within. Chapter 6. Mastering self-control. Calmness cannot exist without self-control. It is the quiet strength that holds your emotions steady when everything around you tries to shake them. Self-control is not about suppressing what you feel. It's about guiding your feelings toward wisdom. It's the inner discipline that allows you to pause, reflect, and respond with clarity instead of impulse. Without it, anger becomes your master. With it, peace becomes your habit. Every moment of anger begins with a small choice, the decision to react. And every moment of calm begins with another choice, the decision to stay centered. Self-control is the space where that choice happens. It's the ability to notice the spark of emotion and stop it before it turns into fire. The more aware you become of that spark, the stronger your control grows. You start realizing that your power doesn't lie in changing others, but in mastering yourself. The secret to self-control is consistency. It's not something that appears in a single day. It's built slowly, moment by moment, through conscious practice. Each time you resist shouting, arguing, or rushing into judgment, you strengthen this inner muscle. Just like physical exercise, the more you train it, the more natural it becomes. What once triggered you deeply will eventually lose its hold over you. Self-control doesn't mean emotionless living. It means emotional maturity. You still feel anger, sadness, or frustration, but you hold them in your awareness long enough to understand them before acting. It's like holding a fragile object carefully in your hands. You examine it from every side, then decide what to do with it. That decision, born from reflection, becomes the foundation of calmness. The mind without control is like a river without banks, powerful but destructive. But with boundaries, it becomes a force that nourishes life. Self-control gives your emotions those boundaries. It allows your energy to flow in a direction that supports peace instead of destroying it. Each time you choose calm over chaos, you reinforce that direction. You train your mind to value peace more than temporary satisfaction. You will notice that self-control feels strongest in silence. When you remain quiet in moments that demand reaction, you protect your dignity. You preserve your peace. People may mistake your silence for weakness, but in truth, it's your greatest strength. Because silence guided by control speaks louder than any words born from anger. With time, self-control becomes less about effort and more about nature. You begin to live from awareness rather than emotion. Situations that once tested you now teach you. Words that once provoked you now pass through you. You start to embody calmness instead of chasing it. And when that happens, you'll understand. Real control is not about holding back. It's about rising above. Self-control begins with awareness, but grows through repetition. The moments when you want to shout, defend, or prove yourself are the very moments that train your strength. Each time you hold your peace, you build inner power. That quiet power doesn't shout to be seen. It simply exists, steady and grounded. It reminds you that you don't have to react to everything that disturbs you. Sometimes, peace is the best reply. Anger often disguises itself as urgency. It convinces you that you must respond right now, that silence means defeat. But real control is knowing that you lose nothing by waiting. In fact, time becomes your greatest ally. When emotions cool, clarity rises. The words you choose after reflection will always sound wiser than the ones born from heat. This simple act of waiting turns emotional chaos into calm direction. Control also means knowing when to walk away. You can't win every argument, nor should you try. Sometimes the cost of proving your point is your peace. When you choose to leave rather than fight, you protect your energy and your dignity. Walking away isn't weakness, it's strength guided by wisdom. You realize your calm is more valuable than being right. Self-control deepens through small acts. A deep breath before speaking, a pause before replying, a gentle tone instead of a harsh one. These moments may seem small, but they are the quiet victories that shape your character. They remind your mind that you are in charge, not your impulses. The more you practice these small controls, the stronger your emotional foundation becomes. There will be days when control feels difficult, when emotions pull hard, when silence feels unbearable. Those are the days that matter most. The strength you build in those moments is permanent. It becomes a part of who you are. The next time life tests you, that strength will rise naturally, protecting your calm without effort. This is how discipline turns into peace. True control is gentle. It doesn't come from force, but from understanding. It's not about suppressing anger, but transforming it into patience. The calmest people are not those who never feel the storm. They are the ones who have learned how to stand still within it. They let the winds blow, but their roots stay deep. That is what mastery feels like. Quiet, steady, unbreakable. With every controlled moment, you shape a new version of yourself, wiser, stronger, and more peaceful. You start living with purpose instead of reaction. Your calm becomes a natural state, not a forced one. And when the world tries to shake you, you'll find yourself smiling softly because now you know no one can control the one who has mastered themselves. Chapter 7. Communication under pressure. Calmness is tested most when emotions collide with words. It's easy to be peaceful alone, but true mastery shows when you stay composed in conversation, especially under pressure. Communication becomes a battlefield when anger enters, but it can also become a bridge when calmness leads. How you speak, listen, and respond determines whether conflict deepens or dissolves. When emotions rise, listening becomes difficult. The mind stops hearing and starts preparing its defense. You wait for your turn to speak instead of trying to understand. But calm communication is the opposite. It starts with presence, not reaction. It's about hearing the meaning behind the words, the emotion behind the tone, and responding to that, not just the surface. In tense moments, silence is often your greatest ally. A few seconds of stillness before you respond can change the entire direction of a conversation. It allows emotion to settle and wisdom to rise. When you pause before speaking, your words carry more weight and less heat. They come from clarity instead of chaos, and people can feel that difference. Anger often turns dialogue into competition, a race to prove who's right. But calmness shifts communication from winning to understanding. It replaces the need to dominate with the desire to connect. The goal is no longer victory, it's peace. When you speak from calm, even disagreement becomes productive. You don't lose control trying to convince, you lead through patience. Tone is more powerful than words. A calm tone can deliver even the hardest truth gently, while an angry one can turn the simplest message into a fight. When pressure builds, focus on how you say things, not just what you say. Breathe before each sentence. Soften your tone. Look into the other person's eyes, not with resistance, but with presence. Your calmness will begin to calm them too. Another key to communication under pressure is detachment from ego. Ego wants the last word. It wants to defend, correct, and prove. But calmness wants understanding. When you let go of the need to be right, you create space for peace to enter. You begin to realize that not every battle deserves a warrior. Some only need silence and grace. The calm communicator doesn't avoid hard conversations. They simply approach them differently. They choose their timing carefully, their tone gently, and their words mindfully. They speak from balance, not emotion. That's why calm people can influence without shouting, guide without demanding, and heal without controlling. True communication is not about how much you say, but about how much peace remains after you've spoken. Communication is not just about words, it's about energy. When you speak with calm energy, you give the other person space to breathe, to listen, and to soften. But when you speak with anger, even truth sounds like attack. The calm communicator understands this and chooses peace over pride. They know that tone can heal what words cannot. When you communicate under pressure, the first step is to listen fully. Listening does not mean waiting for your turn to reply. It means allowing the other person to feel heard. Most conflicts grow because people talk to defend, not to understand. But when someone feels truly listened to, their defenses drop. Your calm attention becomes a mirror that reflects respect. And respect dissolves tension faster than any argument ever could. Another part of calm communication is emotional regulation. When tension rises, emotions want to lead, but you must let awareness take charge. Notice your heartbeat, your tone, your posture. The more aware you are of your body, the easier it is to manage your voice. A deep breath before replying changes everything. It slows your pace, lowers your tone, and sends a signal of control, not dominance, but grace. You can't control how others speak to you, but you can control how you receive their words. Not every sentence deserves a reaction. Sometimes silence is the highest form of understanding. When someone shouts, their words carry the heat of their pain. You don't need to carry that heat inside you. Let it pass through and respond only when your calm is steady enough to lead. During disagreements, remember the goal is not to win but to understand. Ask gentle questions like, "Can you help me understand what you mean?" Or, "I see your point. Can I share mine?" Such words invite peace instead of defense. They show emotional maturity and shift the conversation from reaction to reflection. Calmness disarms anger faster than any argument ever could. If the other person refuses calmness, walk away, not in arrogance, but in awareness. Walking away protects your energy when words no longer build understanding. You owe no explanation for choosing peace. Sometimes silence speaks the truth louder than any sentence could. The calm person knows that distance can be a form of wisdom, not defeat. In the end, calm communication is not about never feeling emotion. It's about never letting emotion speak before awareness does. Each word you speak either plants peace or fuels fire. Choose words that heal, not harm. Choose pauses over reactions. And remember, calmness in your voice doesn't mean weakness in your heart. It means strength shaped by wisdom. That is how calm people communicate, even in chaos. Chapter 8. The Mind-Body Connection. Calmness is not only a state of mind, it is a state of the body. The two are deeply connected, constantly communicating in ways we rarely notice. Every emotion you feel sends signals to your body, and every physical state you experience affects your mind. Understanding this connection is the key to mastering your emotions from both directions, mind to body and body to mind. When you feel angry, your body reacts first. Your heartbeat speeds up, your muscles tighten, and your breathing becomes shallow. The body prepares for battle even before your thoughts can catch up. But when you intentionally calm your body by breathing slowly, relaxing your shoulders, and softening your posture, you send a message back to your brain. I am safe. That single message can stop anger from growing before it takes over. Your breath is the bridge between body and mind. It's the simplest and most powerful tool for staying calm. When your breathing is fast and shallow, your brain interprets danger. But when you breathe slowly and deeply, your brain begins to relax. This change lowers stress hormones and brings clarity. Every deep breath is like a quiet reminder that you are still in control, no matter what's happening around you. Posture also shapes emotion. When you're tense or angry, your body curls inward, chest tight, shoulders raised. This position tells your nervous system that you're under threat. But if you straighten your back, lift your chin slightly, and let your hands relax, your body begins to shift. This small act changes the signals sent to your brain and helps calm your emotional storm. Movement is another key to peace. Anger creates energy that needs to move. If you hold it inside, it grows stronger, but walking, stretching, or even slow breathing helps release it safely. Calmness doesn't mean sitting still like a statue. It means moving with awareness. A short walk can quiet the mind more effectively than hours of overthinking. The body leads, and the mind follows. Sleep, diet, and physical care also influence emotional control. A tired or hungry body reacts faster and calms slower. When your physical needs are ignored, emotional balance becomes harder to maintain. That's why calmness must include self-care. You can't expect peace from a body that's running on empty. Rest, nutrition, and stillness are not luxuries. They are emotional necessities. The more you align your body with peace, the easier it becomes to maintain calmness in your mind. Your breath becomes your anchor, your posture becomes your reminder, and your movement becomes your release. The body doesn't lie. It reflects the truth of your emotional state. When you take care of it consciously, it rewards you with balance, clarity, and calm that lasts far beyond the moment. The body and mind exist in a constant conversation. Every thought changes the rhythm of your breath, and every breath shapes the flow of your thoughts. When this connection is ignored, the mind becomes restless and the body stays tense. But when both move in harmony, you experience what true calmness feels like, a steady state of balance where peace feels natural, not forced. Awareness of your body is awareness of your emotions. When anger rises, it's often the body that signals it first. Your hands tighten, your stomach feels heavy, your jaw stiffens. These are not random sensations, they are messages. The body speaks before the mind can translate. If you learn to listen early, you can calm your physical reaction before it turns into emotional fire. Breathing remains your most powerful key. A single deep breath interrupts the automatic reaction between thought and body. It tells your nervous system that danger has passed, even if your mind is still catching up. Breathing doesn't just calm you in the moment. It retrains your brain over time. Each mindful breath strengthens the link between awareness and control, creating a cycle of peace that grows stronger every day. Stillness also plays a vital role in calming the body. Take moments throughout the day to pause, not to escape life but to reset it. Close your eyes, unclench your muscles, and observe how your body feels. You'll notice that even a few seconds of awareness can melt built-up tension. This act of mindfulness brings the body back into alignment with the present moment, where calmness naturally exists. But movement, too, can be deeply healing. Gentle walks, slow stretching, or mindful yoga balance the nervous system and release stored stress. When you move consciously, you allow trapped emotions to leave the body safely. That's why after physical activity, your thoughts often feel clearer, because calmness flows more easily through a body in motion. Your physical habits either support peace or disrupt it. Caffeine, lack of rest, or constant tension keep the nervous system alert. You don't notice it until a small trigger causes an intense emotional reaction. Taking care of your body is not vanity. It's emotional discipline. A well-rested, well-nourished body supports a calm and thoughtful mind. The more you live with this awareness, the less reactive you become. You realize that peace doesn't start in the mind alone. It begins in the breath, the heartbeat, the stillness of the body. You don't fight emotions anymore. You feel them, breathe through them, and let them go. This harmony between body and mind becomes your foundation, your shield, and your quiet reminder that calmness is not just a choice, it is a way of being. Chapter 9. Transforming anger into growth. Anger, when understood deeply, is not a curse. It is energy. It's raw power that, if left uncontrolled, burns everything around it. But when guided with awareness, it becomes strength, passion, and clarity. The goal is not to destroy anger, but to transform it into something higher. Every moment of anger carries within it a message, a call to grow, to change, and to understand yourself better. Anger is the body's way of saying, something needs attention. It often hides pain, disappointment, or unmet expectations. When you see it as an invitation rather than an enemy, you begin to use it instead of being used by it. Calmness doesn't mean rejecting anger. It means converting that fire into light. The same energy that once caused damage can be turned into motivation, courage, or wisdom. Transformation begins with awareness. When anger rises, pause and look inward. Ask, what is this emotion trying to show me? Perhaps it's revealing an area of life where you need stronger boundaries, or a truth you've been avoiding. Each time you reflect rather than react, you turn pain into insight. The more you do this, the more you discover that anger was never your weakness. It was your teacher in disguise. Growth also means learning to express anger without destruction. You can speak firmly without shouting, disagree without disrespect, and release pain without resentment. Expressing anger calmly does not make you weak. It shows you have mastered it. When anger flows through awareness, it becomes power under control, like a river that no longer floods, but nourishes everything it touches. To transform anger, redirect its energy. Physical activity, art, writing, or prayer can turn emotional heat into creation. Movement transforms fire into flow. Instead of suppressing the energy, guide it somewhere meaningful. Anger wants action. Give it purpose. Use it to make changes that bring peace, not regret. The energy is the same, only the direction changes. Forgiveness also plays a role in transformation. Anger often lingers because we hold on to old wounds, replaying them in our minds. But forgiveness is not about letting others off the hook. It's about freeing yourself from the weight you carry. When you release resentment, you reclaim energy that was trapped in pain. That energy becomes growth, the kind that turns scars into strength. Over time, you'll begin to see anger differently. You'll no longer fear it or feel guilty for it. You'll meet it with calm curiosity and ask, "What can I learn from this?" That single question transforms the emotion instantly. Every time you respond with awareness, your anger becomes wisdom. It stops being fire and becomes light, the kind of light that guides you to deeper peace and lasting strength. Transforming anger into growth requires patience. You cannot expect transformation in a single day because anger has roots that often reach deep into old experiences. Every time you feel anger rise, it's an opportunity to look at those roots with awareness. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" That shift in thinking changes everything. When you observe your anger, you start seeing patterns. Maybe you notice that it appears most when you feel disrespected, ignored, or misunderstood. These patterns reveal your emotional wounds, the places within you that still seek healing. When you face them instead of running from them, your anger begins to lose its intensity. It no longer controls you. It becomes your signal for inner work. Growth also comes from self-compassion. Many people feel ashamed of their anger, but guilt only strengthens it. You must learn to meet your emotions with kindness, even when they feel uncomfortable. When you say to yourself, "It's okay that I feel this way, but I'll handle it wisely," you create balance. That compassion softens the edges of your emotion and allows healing to begin. Another step in transformation is learning to respond creatively instead of destructively. If anger gives you energy, use it for something meaningful. Clean your space, write your thoughts, walk in nature, or help someone who needs support. The goal is not to resist the energy, but to redirect it. You turn the fire of emotion into the light of purpose. That's how transformation feels, calm yet powerful. Self-reflection is your greatest ally in this process. At the end of each day, take a moment to look back and ask yourself, when did I lose my calm today, and why? This quiet practice helps you identify triggers and measure growth. Some days you'll slip, but that's part of the journey. Every mistake you handle with awareness becomes another step toward mastery. Over time, you'll notice a change. Anger arrives less often, stays for shorter moments, and fades faster. You'll still feel it, but it will no longer rule you. Instead, it will serve you as a guide, showing where boundaries need to be set, where wounds need care, and where growth is waiting. Anger will stop being something to fear and become something to understand. Transformation doesn't mean perfection. It means awareness that grows stronger every time you choose peace over impulse. It means learning from each wave of emotion until calmness becomes second nature. Eventually, the fire that once burned inside you becomes the light that guides you. That's when you realize the purpose of anger was never destruction. It was always your invitation to evolve. Chapter 10: The Peaceful Mindset. The ultimate goal of calmness is not to control every moment. It is to live from peace, no matter what moment you face. A peaceful mindset is not built in comfort. It's built through challenges. It's the quiet confidence that stays steady even when things fall apart. It is the ability to walk through chaos without letting it enter you. True peace is not the absence of noise, but the mastery of stillness within it. A peaceful mindset begins with surrender, not giving up, but letting go. You stop trying to control every outcome, every person, and every situation. You understand that life will move the way it must, and your task is not to fight it, but to flow with it. When you release the need to control, your energy shifts from resistance to acceptance, and that shift creates instant calm. Peace also grows from perspective. Most of the things that disturb your calm are temporary. An unkind word, a delay, a disappointment. When you step back and view them from a distance, they lose their power. The peaceful mind understands that nothing is as big as it feels in the moment. It asks, will this matter a year from now? And in that question, anger begins to dissolve. Another part of peace is gratitude. The more you focus on what is good, the less power negativity holds. Gratitude doesn't ignore pain. It balances it. It reminds you that even in difficult times, something within you remains whole. A thankful mind is naturally calm because it sees abundance where others see lack. When you start counting blessings instead of problems, peace becomes your natural response. Peace also lives in simplicity. When your mind is cluttered with endless wants, comparisons, and expectations, it becomes restless. But when you simplify your thoughts, your habits, your desires, you create space for stillness. You realize that peace was never missing. It was simply buried beneath the noise of too much thinking. The quieter the mind, the louder the peace. Forgiveness is another pillar of a peaceful mindset. You can't be calm while carrying resentment. Holding on to anger is like holding fire and expecting others to burn. Forgiveness is not forgetting, it's freeing. It's releasing the emotional weight that steals your calm. When you forgive, you make peace with your past and open space for new light to enter. A peaceful mind does not mean a perfect life. It means choosing balance over reaction, trust over control, and faith over fear. When you live from peace, your energy changes everything around you. You speak softly but carry power. You move slowly but with purpose, and you stop being shaken by things that used to break you. That is the mindset of peace, steady, centered, and deeply alive. Peace is not a destination you arrive at. It is a direction you walk in every day. The peaceful mindset grows from every calm choice, every patient pause, and every moment of awareness. You build it slowly through the ordinary challenges of life. It doesn't appear suddenly. It unfolds quietly, until one day you realize that the things that once disturbed you no longer have power over you. A peaceful life doesn't mean a life without difficulty. It means having an inner stability that remains even when circumstances change. The calm mind understands that storms come and go, but the sky remains. You stop chasing peace outside and start cultivating it inside. This inner stillness becomes your foundation, a place you can return to no matter how loud the world becomes. Maintaining peace also means protecting your environment. Limit the noise you allow into your life, not just sound, but emotional noise. The opinions, arguments, and comparisons that cloud your thoughts can easily pull you away from balance. Protect your peace like something sacred. Choose conversations, habits, and surroundings that nurture calm rather than drain it. Spiritual awareness deepens peace further. Whether through prayer, meditation, or reflection, you begin to feel connected to something greater than yourself. This connection reminds you that you are not alone, that every challenge carries meaning, and that calmness is part of your divine design, In this realization, peace becomes more than an emotion. It becomes your natural state of being. Living with a peaceful mindset also means practicing acceptance. You learn to accept people as they are, not as you wish them to be. You stop expecting life to always feel fair or predictable. Acceptance doesn't mean surrendering to negativity. It means refusing to fight what cannot be changed. When resistance fades, peace has space to grow. In the end, calmness is not about being untouched by life, but about being unshaken by it. It's knowing that whatever happens, you have the tools to remain balanced. You've learned to pause before reacting, to breathe before speaking, and to see emotions as teachers, not enemies. You've discovered that anger loses its power the moment awareness rises. So carry this peace within you, into your thoughts, your words, and your actions. Let calmness become your strength, patience your language, and awareness your shield. And whenever life tries to test your peace, remember, you don't need to fight every storm. Sometimes the greatest power is simply to stand still, calm, present, and free.